What's up, everybody? Welcome to Car Ride Sessions. We got a great day here in good old Charlotte, North Carolina. It's a balmy 91 degrees. Biggest thing down here is it's not so much the heat as it is the humidity that'll get you. But yeah, Car Ride Sessions. Let's get into it. Programming. One of the questions that I've actually seen pretty often on the gram is like, what's my programming process? How do I kind of go from nothing to a fully programmed song? And I do actually have a process. What's interesting, and this is maybe just a little bit about me, is whenever I hear a song, I listen to it, but in my mind's eye, I'm seeing the programming. So I'm seeing like, okay, I'm gonna have the spots do this, I'm gonna watch do this, and I'm getting all of these ideas, and I get, it goes from like eagerness and excitement to like anxiety of like, oh, I can have them do this and do this and do this. And the excitement, my heart rate goes up, and I'm like, yeah, and I get really excited, and I sit down at the desk, and it's like all of that, it's like creative gridlock. It's like, oh yeah, what was I? It's like it all just goes away. So I needed a process that allowed me to be excited about the programming, because that's where a lot of inspiration comes from, ideas, and even just motivation to like kind of push through some of those long hours of programming. But I needed some way to push through the creative gridlock that happens from my brain to the console. So, and it happens, more often than you would think. And so anyway, I just sort of developed this like kind of three-step process that not only helps me push through like kind of some of those that creative gridlock that I was talking that I'm mentioning, but also just when I don't have that, when I'm not excited, when I'm like, I don't really like this song, or I'm not really feeling it. This is just a very point A to point B process that lets me produce something that can be evaluated, that can be refined, that can be tweaked and updated and changed, whether it be by me or getting feedback from somebody else, and just something that allows me to actually just produce something on the back end and be productive in a programming session. So the 3 steps, I'll just lay them out real quick, is 3 steps are supporting the song, that's step 3. The first step is invest in the look. The second step is just color. Title, it's a working title. If you got any suggestions, I'm all for it, but just color. And then the third is is supporting the song. So invest in the look, color, and support the song. So investing in the look, what I like to do when I first sit down at the console, regardless of anything, I like to build a container. And I've been messing around with some Lewis scripting to try to help build a plugin that I can just hit a button and it just builds it for me. But what I do is I sit down, I just hit store, and I open up, or I store on the next open executor. I label it the song name, and then I do store queue 2 through 20. I just give myself 20 cues that I will then label later, but then I will label my first cue mark, and then I'll put the BPM of the song. Then I will change the appearance to red. So red in our context is just no good. It's not ready to go. So if I get up, walk away from the desk, and maybe I have all the cues labeled, it just lets me know, or maybe if we've got a contractor coming in or somebody coming in behind me, they know that they've got to check that programming before we ever use it in a worship experience. So the goal is that once we get through run through, or maybe we get to a place where we're like, no, this programming is good, we'll change it to green, which means it's good to go. But I sort of just set my container up, and then I play the song, and I do all of the road mapping. So, verse, pre-chorus, chorus, verse, turn, pre-chorus, chorus, whatever it is, whatever the roadmap is for the entire song. Then on my first actual programming pass, I program in what I program in binary, which means if the song is down, I have the lights down. If the song goes up, I make the lights go up. I'm not adding in any color. If you have something that I'll do is I'll pick a color palette that I like. It may not match visuals or anything because I'm not making that decision, but maybe I'll just pick a color palette that I like and I'll just go with that. Just so I'm not staring at white, and that can help me get a little bit more granular on my overall looks. But I basically just try to get the dynamics of the song roughed in, because that's really what the investing in the look portion of it is just finding those dynamics. And I like to find the most down part of the song and the biggest part of the song, and I'll use those looks to kind of calibrate everything in between. So I think I've mentioned this before. I'll use what I call the 5 to 10 paradigm when I'm working with dynamics. So investing in the look, I like to play with position. I like to do, maybe I want a beamy look, so I'll zoom everything in. Maybe I want a wash look, so I'll zoom everything out, rack the focus. Maybe I want gobos. Before I ever touch color, there's plenty of attributes that I can play with that will significantly alter the overall look of each step of the song. So what I try to do is I try to squeeze as much out of a look as I can, and let the song kind of carry certain moments as much as I can. Sometimes you just got to add, and I keep my mind in in effects and phasers and things like that. But the investing in the look, the number one rule with this portion of the process is I do not do any sort of effects. Hard, fast rule, no effects are being put in during this portion of the programming process. Once I've kind of roughed in, my binary type looks, like big, down, then I'll go back through my second pass, and I'll get more critical, I'll get more granular. And the more often that I've done this, and this has been my process for years, so I've learned to kind of overlap all of the steps and kind of do it in real time. But I will go back through and go, okay, do I really like this look? Do I need to add this? Do I need to add this? Do I need to tweak this? Is wide out the best way? Or, maybe I need to zoom it in. Maybe we want a beamy look. But get more and more critical the more you pass through. Then, or the more passes you do through the song, then move on to the next step and get colors roughed in. And yeah, you might have visuals that you need to match color to. But the biggest thing is take that into consideration. If you're using visuals, ensure that you're not clashing, you're not too busy. So my number one rule with colors, and this is a hard and fast one, is I try to stick to two, a saturated and a desaturated. The most I will do is 3, and that's 2 saturated and a desaturated color. But it, depending on one color or 2 color, really is determined by the visuals. So because I don't want the stage to become visually cluttered, to become visually busy. I want it to be clean. I want it to be very clear of I want either lighting to complement. So it might be you might have teal or green visuals. Well, doing indigo or magenta or even a blue might complement that really well. So or red even, or a desaturated red. So play with that. Play with colors. What I like to do is I like to go crazy and go if they're if the visuals are blue, I like to go, okay, what does orange look like? What is light, I like to jump. What does saturated yellow look like? Does that look like, I try to go as much across the spectrum as I can, because I never know when I'm oh, that actually does kind of look good. Maybe color combinations that you wouldn't think look good, but in that particular context you're yeah, that actually looks kind of nice. But that's super important in the color part of the process. The last step is supporting the song. So the best example that I can give on like supporting the song part of it is the best part that I can give on the supporting the song portion is now you add in your effects, now you add in your phasers, now you add in all the fun stuff. But the thing to keep in mind, kind of the control aspect of it, is the best kind of analogy that I can give is whenever you like have a painting and you pull it off of, like, so you have a canvas or a piece of paper and you pull it off of the like the wood frame or whatever. It's kind of floppy, you can't really hold it up, or paper, it can get folded and creased. Most paintings that I've seen are in a frame, and in order for them to be enjoyed and experienced, they're in a frame and they're put up on a wall, they're displayed. Well, they need a framework in order for that to happen. If you think of a song like a painting or a piece of art, the visuals and lighting is kind of that framework that allows it to be, displayed and enjoyed and presented. But the frame doesn't ever get in the way. The frame is always complementary. It always supports the picture. It supports the artwork. It doesn't ever step on it. So anytime I'm doing effects or phasers, anything like that, and like just really going for the dynamics, I'm always trying to keep an eye on, never want to step on the song. I never want the lighting to be the thing. I always want it to be just behind the energy of the song. I never, I don't want to ever get into a position where, the bridge is, just up and going and everything is, high energy, and I've got colors and strobes and, lights doing like dimmers and colors and movement and gobo spins and everything, because that just looks messy. I want everything to be clean, to be intentional, and all to be driving towards supporting the energy of the song appropriately. I don't ever want it to step on and take that spotlight away from the song being enjoyed and experienced and taken in, right? So once I get to that point and I've got like maybe 75-80% there, now I go back through. Now I'm ultra critical. Now I'm going through my each step all over again. I'm investing in the look again. Like, okay, is this position really what we want? Do we want gobos? Is prism the right call? Is this positioning okay? Is this dimming okay? Is it too bright? Can we bring it down and still be effective in hitting all of our dynamics? Is this effect too much? Is it not enough? And I go through, is this color palette right? Is it too busy? Is it not busy? Is it not enough? Do we need to, maybe desaturate it, maybe change the hue? There's all of those different factors that go into, the song, and it's just, you just go through that process, and it takes a few hours. By the time you kind of get to like a brand new song, start to finish, and really get the passes to refine it and get it feeling the way that you want. Yeah, it takes a couple hours, hour and a half, 2 hours if you're really quick. But this process also has its advantages in terms of, if you've got this process and you refine it and you work on it, you can do all 3 steps per cue in real time, and you can really shorten down your process and evaluation, and really spit something out on the back end that doesn't look bad. It might not be totally refined, but it's passable, and it's it's good enough to move on. But anyway, that's my process. That's what I do whenever I sit down at the desk and want to program something new. Hope that helps somebody. Yeah. Bye, everybody.